Hello, my name is Aaron. I did my research paper and my project on to buildup in the environment. I felt like this has always been a big problem, like where I live and absolutely everywhere around, with like trash on the sidewalks, trash in the ponds, trash in rivers. Just everywhere you go, there's trash on the ground, and literally, if you look 20 feet to your right, 20 feet to your left, there's a trash can that it could easily be put in. So I have debris buildup has always been a growing issue. When the mass production of plastic picked up in the 1950s, it's just more and more and more and more plastic that can be put into the world. And it takes 14 years for one plastic's red Solo cup to disintegrate and decompose. Over the last 20 years, the disposition of plastic has accelerated drastically in harming animals and their habitat. Animals can mistake trash for food, shelter, and ultimately can end up killing them. Plastic is also the leading pollutant in the ocean, and plastic is killing animals at an alarming rate. So we have birds and fish, and once it gets in fish digestive tract, it messes it all up, and they end up bleeding out from the inside. Um, Overall, approximately 267 organisms have been impacted by the abundance of plastic. So we have the causes. Obviously, there's plastic. Paper takes a long time to decompose. Fishing line coming off of a boat and strangling animals, strangling sea turtles, fish, all the above. Utensils, so plastic forks, anything that has to do with plastic. But obviously, the biggest contributor is water bottles. There's so many water bottles made every single day. They did an experiment for Nat Geo, and they said it was calculated that 38.6% of all water bottles are recycled. So that means if I buy a pack of 24 water bottles, only 10 of them are making them in the recycling bin. So I live in the LLC, obviously, so it's pretty cool because it's not run on any fuels or anything, and like everything's recycled. We have recycling bins in our trash area, so it's pretty. They make you do it, and like if you when you don't, they bring that out and they make it like a campus event, like a volunteer type of thing, and people put on gloves and they switch and sift out the trash, sift out the plastic that's recyclable. The consequences, obviously, because there's going to be major consequences for littering. Trash attracts vermin and is a breeding ground for bacteria, so obviously people get sick from this if they touch something that's really disgusting and been sitting there for a while. Animals mistake trash for foods, and like I said, if any animal really eats it, it can mess up their digestive tract and rip the inner lining of their stomach. So that's really not good. So far, 1 million birds, 100,000 marine animals, and sea turtles die each year due to consumption of plastic because entanglement. So, fishing nets that have been broken, one slit has been broken, they just throw it in the ocean and it's not their problem anymore. And then little do they know that fish swim in it and they get stuck, and once it goes to the bottom, the fish is dead. Doesn't affect them though, so they don't really care about it. Plastic is one of the biggest threats to all whales and dolphins occurring throughout the world's ocean. Another reason. The number one littered item is cigarette butts, accounting for nearly 50% of trash improperly disposed of. Being at this college, when I walk down the street, I could look down and find at least four right next to each other I've been looking at and trying to pick up trash. For my orientation group, we walked down Winchester all the way to the athletics fields, and there was about 12 of us maybe, and we each had a full bag of trash, and it was probably not even a mile. So you can tell that it's like growing and growing and growing in our society, and it's not good. Every year, it's said that 9 billion tons of waste is dumped into the ocean worldwide, which is obviously going to affect animals. And places around the coast, such as where I live from Mystic and New London and all across the border, Long Island. All the trash is going to go to them with the wave currents. Plastics affects the living conditions for all animals. It doesn't have to be marine. It doesn't. It affects everybody. Um, so drinking water. This is a big thing. Water that we drink, shower with, clean out utensils with, all contaminated because of our species throwing trash in the ground. So once we throw the trash in the ground, the wind picks it up, and the wind currents picks it up into, basically, they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it until it reaches water, and then it just gradually gets bigger and bigger and combined with each other. Um, Obviously, everything on this world needs unpolluted water to survive on, because we can't survive on what acid rain, polluted water with sewage. We can't live on that. Nobody can. Um, so litter can also clog up storm drains. I know that's a big thing here at Keene State. So it causes floods here because the storm drains pile up and everything, and there's nowhere for the water to go because it's covered in plastic, leaves, everything. Um, once once plastic gets into the water, they can decompose. Obviously, very slow, but when they do, it mixes in with the oxygen levels, and it severely affects the lifespan and natural occurrences of marine species. It just throws off the whole entire thing. Another big thing that was big in the news a couple of years ago was the coral reef that was getting bleached, dying out. Another reason why that the coral reef is getting worse and worse is because fishing lines and all like plastic bags are getting caught in it. And you know, plastic bags, that if the both of the little handles go on a coral reef and the water pushes it through, it's just going to rip it right off and it's going to break it. So obviously we need to fix that because it's making our world just worse and worse and getting rid of historic land piece. The nets get caught in the branches, obviously, of the coral, and the net gets caught up in the underwater current and rips the coral, eventually destroying it. And once the coral dies, the whole plant turns white and it bleaches. Another major reason the reef is dying is because the car and boat emissions lead to the ocean warming, causing mass bleaching, ultimately killing the coral and making it white. All the trash buildup is coming up in remote areas as garbage islands, which are islands made of trash. So their actual name is garbage patches. They form in layers because the wind mixes the surface layers of water while the debris sticks to each other and creates huge masses of trash. The giant garbage patch doubles every decade and can eventually reach the size of Texas, which is enormously huge. Enormous. Just a big, bulging island of trash that is just not good for anybody. The trash that is deposited into the ocean does not decompose for many years. Like I said, a red Solo cup is 14 years. So it's a long time. It just breaks down into smaller pieces, which is more harmful for the environment, and fish can choke on it, get stuck in their lungs or their gills, and just kill instantly. So my personal connections with these is I'm from Mystic, Connecticut, so which is like right on the water, and we're a town over, so there's a bridge that separates two of us with a large river. I live right next to New London, which is home to Ocean Beach. Living in an area so close to the ocean, it's evident that it's becoming a major problem because you could just go to the beach and see lines and lines of trash just all over the place. So obviously in New London, nobody's tried to clean it up, so all it's doing is just getting worse and worse and worse, and animals are dying. So this is it. The beach is the dirtiest beach in Connecticut currently, and it's ranked 7th nationally. The dirtiest beach in the country. So, since we have made the world we live in so disgusting, obviously we're gonna try to fix it. Picking up trash while walking down the road, like I said, our orientation group did that, and I feel like we really made a difference to making where we want to live cleaner, and helping animals that could have potentially eaten them and wound up dead, and that's not a good thing. Um, so every day, Dr. Davis, you get in your car, and obviously everybody has to get in their car because that's the only way we can get from point A to point B. But as you know, the fossil fuels are killing the environment, killing the ozone layer, which is not good. It's one of the main reasons for global warming. Cars and trucks produce carbon dioxide. Because of this, greenhouse gases are being emitted. These gas traps heat in the atmosphere, which cause worldwide temperatures to rise, which is not good. So it's already, what is it, December 5th, December 4th actually, and we're still have yet to get snow, which is ridiculous since we're in New Hampshire. One way to fix this problem: more fuel efficient cars, electric cars, so less toxic gases will be emitted. I know that a bunch of cars are trying to get better miles to the gallon, which will help a little bit, but you're still letting gas into the air, which still kills animals and kills the ozone. We can conserve water and have less wastewater to pollute the ocean. So in my town, we have it runs for 2 towns, and it's a huge water treatment plant, so we can just reuse and reuse and reuse water. We can dispose of our trash responsibly. On the ocean, don't leave your unwanted fishing lines or nets in the water, because obviously it's going to end up sinking and it's going to kill animals. Any type of trash can harm marine life or the reef, so be careful where you dispose of your trash. It's a big epidemic. It needs to be fixed before it's too late. There's also many organizations that help cleaning up the world. This is a huge problem, and it needs to be fixed as soon as possible. We need to keep where we live clean, safe, and overall nice place to live, because we like to live in a dirty room or a dirty environment. So that's the end of my PowerPoint. I hope that the world becomes a cleaner place, and people start to think of their actions before they throw a water bottle on the ground, they throw their paper bag on the ground, they throw anything on the ground. When if you probably just walk about another 30 yards, you'll have a trash can there, and nobody will have to worry about it. Workers won't have to pick it up. They won't have to hire people. People save money. It's such a growing problem in our society today that people take their trash and make it somebody else's trash when they can just dispose of it right away. So why picking up trash is such a big deal is to keep our place clean, because obviously more trash and more trash and more trash is going to end up coming. More plastic's going to be made, more bottles are going to be made, more plates are going to be made, everything. So it's not going to stop, so we need to take care of our environment and make sure it's the cleanest possible place, because if not, it's just going to keep stacking up and stacking up and stacking up and stacking up, and it's going to be too big of a hole that we can't get ourselves out of. So it needs it's a growing issue in the world, actually. China being really bad, where smog is just controlling the whole entire air that they breathe, and it's killing people at alarming rates and sending people into seizures and not being able to breathe and having heart attacks. So that's all for me. So thank you.